section 69 today, and the introduction is almost as long as the actual verses, so we'll go through that. Revelation given through Joseph Smith, the prophet, at Hiram, Ohio, November 11th, 1831. The compilation of revelations intended for early publication had been passed upon at the special conference of November 1 and 2, or on November 3. Did I say that right? Well, that's how it's written. Um, I'd say the 1st and 2nd of November and the 3rd of November. The revelation herein appearing as section 133, later called the appendix, was added. So this was given, and also section 133. Don't understand why we don't. I guess it's because it's the appendix and that, and they decided to leave it till then. But you almost feel like if you want to do it chronologically, you'd read section 133 and study it at the same time you're studying these. Oliver Cowdery had previously been appointed to carry the manuscript um, of the compiled Revelations and Commandments to Independence, Missouri for printing. He was also to take with him money that had been contributed for the building up of the church in Missouri. This revelation instructs John Whitmer to accompany Oliver Cowdery, and also directs Whitmer to travel and collect historical material in his calling as church historian and recorder. So that's a very good description of what is going to talk about. But we'll get into this now. Hearken unto me, saith the Lord your God, for my servant Oliver Cowdery's sake. It is not wisdom in me that he should be entrusted with the commandments and the moneys which he shall carry to the land of Zion, except one go with him who will be true and faithful. In the Come Follow Me manual, it doesn't say much about this other than the heading is about how your friends can be a good influence on you, um, help you stay strong in the gospel, and it just, I'm just seeing what it says. It says, "True and faithful friends help me follow Jesus Christ." Um, and the question is, why do you think it was wisdom in the Lord? It was wisdom in the Lord for someone true and faithful to accompany Oliver Cowdery on the assignment described in this verse. And how does this principle apply to you? Well, first of all, he's carrying probably quite a bit of money because they're building up Zion. That means they're paying for land and stuff to build with and everything else. It was probably quite expensive. Um, and so it had to be somebody that you could trust with money and things like that. And also the commandments. The commandments at that time were considered um, like gold themselves, um, and it was this opportunity to be able to um, share those a little bit, a lot more than they ever have, because they could be printed um, as the Book of Commandments. So I think it makes sense to have somebody, well, first of all, that's true and faithful, someone that you can trust with those sort of things. And second of all, having two people travel is probably a lot less dangerous than traveling alone anyway. Um, Wherefore I, the Lord, will that my servant John Whitmer should go with my servant Oliver Cowdery. John Whitmer um, has become very integral at this time. He's probably, what, 4 or 5, maybe, uh, yeah, about 4 months, I think, into his calling as church historian, and now he's here to assist Oliver Cowdery. But this gives him a chance to go there, record church history events in Wyoming, as well as record them in Kirtland. So this also makes sense. Um, Also, he shall continue in writing and making history of all the important things which he shall observe and know concerning my church, and also that he receive counsel and assistance from my servant Oliver Cowdery and others. Also, my servants who are abroad in the earth should send forth their accounts and their stewardships to the land of Zion. Now, we do have something similar that goes on in bishoprics and things like that, in wards, I should say. Uh, the clerk is responsible for making up the histories of the ward, and that's usually delegated to someone with a specific call to do the ward history, and then that is sent to the church, to the church offices, and collected, all to be kept um, and carefully preserved. So it still goes on today. For the land of Zion shall be the seat and the place to receive and do all these things. I think one of the things that I really have learned this year is how much, I, I guess when I've read the history in the past, I see Kirtland being developed, and Missouri being settled, and they have two different, um, just two different centers of the church. And Kirtland seems to be being strengthened more than Missouri in a lot of ways. Missouri seemed to be still a bit backwards and things like that, I guess. I don't know. Because it is a harsh environment. It seemed that Kirtland seemed to be where all the activity was. That's where Joseph Smith was. Um, that's where the Bible's being translated. Uh, the council um, of the elders that met. That's where they met to decide to create the Book of Commandments. But as you see, there's a lot of ties in here that I didn't really think about. That it was where they were. It was like, okay, this is our end goal. Is um, Missouri, and that means that whatever's happening in Kirtland was just a way, the way the Lord would strengthen His church to help build Zion in um, Missouri. I think the real idea was that um, they slowly build Zion and they make it Zion, the pure in heart. The although they seem to be talking about the place more than the um, how the uh, members conducted themselves. Um, but at the same time, it seems that they were trying to make it a slow trickle so that they can buy the lands and also build the people up as they come in so that it was a Zion like place and people. Um, I hope that helped you guys. It's just this tie that they have that um, seems stronger than even when I read church history, um, or the history of the church, I guess it's called, um, the one that was written in Joseph Smith's time, the one that we get the first vision from, the one that was written in 1838 and beyond. Those things are the ones that I still went past me. Is the link that they have and the link that these scriptures have to um, getting to Missouri. So anyway, so as it says there, for the land of Zion shall be the seat and a place to receive and do all these things. Nevertheless, let my servant John Whitmer travel many times from place to place and from church to church, that he may the more easily obtain knowledge. So he needs to go around to all these places. Those that wherever they are that um, are traveling can send in their stories as well. And then he's got this, not only that part, but he's also commanded to preaching, expounding, writing, copying, selecting, and obtaining all things which shall be for the good of the church and for the rising generation that shall grow upon the land of Zion, to possess it from generation to generation, forever and ever. Amen. So I think all this is specific to John Whitmer, and it seems like his um, role is very well defined here. I think we can apply it to how we are preaching and expounding, writing, copying, selecting, and obtaining all things which are good for be for the good of the church and for the rising generations. We can do that also in our families, and we can keep the histories and we can write the things. Um, really, um, this series of videos that I'm making is really for that purpose, is for my family, uh, and hopefully will touch the hearts of some people. I know that it's not perfect, or I haven't gone through and edited all out all the ums and uhs and the big breaks that sometimes I'm sitting there looking at something, or just not following along as well as I should. Um, but they're here, and they're um, there because I felt that I should be expounding and writing and copying, selecting a little bit of the things in my life and the things um, in the scriptures that I see. So I hope that's been a good part for you. I just wanted to go one last thing about this last thing about um, except one go with him who will be true and faithful. And in the Come Follow Me, that's where they emphasize, um, even though there's a lot of good things in this section, if when you have those people who are true and faithful around you, sometimes it makes a big difference. I remember and if you go into the Come Follow Me, they'll give you some examples of um, from the Leahona magazines of the church, examples how they've done this on a ward level, and how um, someone's done this on the individual level. In my experience, growing up especially, and my experience now, but I tell an experience from growing up. Um, I had some really good friends in my later teenage years, um, and we'd often just gather together. It started with about two or three. Well, it started with three of us, and sometimes four, um, just getting together on a Sunday afternoon as friends because we're teenagers. That's what we do. But we'd sit there, and sometimes we'd read the scriptures. Sometimes we'd go to a fireside that was on around the area. Um, Sometimes we'd just talk about the Savior. But we'd get together and we had this spiritual moment on the Sunday outside of church, and it was a beautiful time. And I remember we started to have four of us get together usually, um, and uh, and every once in a while it'd be like five or six, and at one time we had like, just because we enjoyed it so much, we would invite people, and at one time we had like 20 people, and we thought this is getting out of hand now. People were coming in, and some people that I barely knew would show up, um, because as teenagers, we were hungry for um, the gospel, and we wanted to hear it, and we wanted to live it. I think having that time and those wonderful friends was essential, probably not just for me, but for my friends. And I think there's times when we should be looking for those who are true and faithful and turn to them and be true and faithful to them as well. So I guess today I hope you can um, think of those who are true and faithful around you, and what kind of friendship you have with them. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you. If I can get this to work, we'll see you tomorrow.